Hello, good beans, and welcome back to Midnight Requiem. Today we'll be talking about Sergeant Stubby was a dog and the unofficial mascot of the 102nd Infantry Regiment and was assigned to 26th Yankee Division World War I. He served for 18 months and participated in 17 battles and 4 offensives on the Western Front. He saved his regiment from surprise mustard gas attacks, found and comforted the wounded, and allegedly once caught a German soldier by the seat of his pants, holding him there until American soldiers found him. His actions are well documented in contemporary American newspapers. Stubby has been called the most decorated war dog of the Great War and the only dog to be nominated and promoted to sergeant through combat. Stubby's remains are in the Smithsonian Institution. Stubby is the subject of the 2018 animated film Sergeant Stubby, an American Hero. Stubby was described in contemporaneous news items as a Boston Terrier or American Pit Bull Terrier mutt, describing him as a dog of uncertain breed, and Boston wrote that the brindle pattern pup probably owed at least some of his parentage to the evolving family of Boston Terriers, a breed so new that even its name was in flux: Boston Roundheads American and Boston Bull Terriers. Stubby was found wandering the grounds of the Yale University campus in New Haven, Connecticut in July 1917, while members of the 102nd Infantry were training. He hung around as the men drilled, and one soldier in particular, Corporal James Robert Conroy, developed a fondness for him. When it came time for the outfit to ship out, Conroy hid Stubby on board the troop ship. As they were getting off the ship in France, he hid Stubby under his overcoat without detection. Upon discovery by Conroy's commanding officer, Stubby saluted him as he had been trained to in camp, and the commanding officer allowed the dog to stay on board. Stubby served with the 102nd Infantry Regiment in the trenches in France for 18 months and participated in 4 offensives and 17 battles. He entered combat on February 5, 1918 at Chemin des Dames, north of Soissons, and was under constant fire day and night for over a month. In April 1918, during a raid to take Surpres, Stubby was wounded in the foreleg by retreating Germans throwing hand grenades. He was sent to the rear for convalescence, and as he had done on the front, improved morale. When he recovered from his wounds, Stubby returned to the trenches. In his first year of battle, Stubby was injured by mustard gas. After he recovered, he returned with a specially designed gas mask to protect them. He thus learned to warn his unit of mustard gas attacks, locate wounded soldiers in no man's land, and since he could hear the whine of incoming artillery shells before humans, became very adept at alerting his unit when to duck for cover. He was solely responsible for capturing a German spy in the Argonne, leading to their unit's commander nominating Stubby for the rank of sergeant. Following the retaking of Château-Thierry by the U.S., women of the town made Stubby a chamois coat upon which his many medals were pinned. He was later injured again in the chest and leg by a grenade. He ultimately had 2 wounded stripes, and at the end of the war, Robert Conroy and Stubby returned home in 1918. After returning home, Stubby became a celebrity and marched in and normally led many parades across the country. He met President Woodrow Wilson, Calvin Coolidge, and Warren G. Harding. He also appeared on vaudeville stages owned by Sylvester Z. Poley, and was awarded lifetime membership to the American Legion and the YMCA. In 1921, General of Armies John J. Pershing presented a gold medal from the Humane Education Society to Stubby, the subject of famous photograph and other artistic media. During that same year, he attended Georgetown University Law Center along with Conroy and became the Georgetown Hoyas team mascot. Given the football at halftime, he would nudge it around the field to the amusement of the fans. While still a student at Georgetown, Conroy was also employed as a special agent of the Bureau of Investigation. Stubby passed away in his sleep in March 1926. After his death, he was preserved via taxidermy and his remains were sealed inside of the mount. Conroy later presented Stubby to the Smithsonian in 1956. The taxidermy mount of the dog is part of the permanent collection at the Smithsonian National Museum of American History and is currently on display in their Price of Freedom American at War exhibit. Stubby received an obituary in the New York Times following his death in 1926. The obituary was half a page, much longer than obituaries of many notable people of that time period. He was also the subject of a portrait by Capitol artist Charles Ayer Whipple. He was featured in the Brave Beasts exhibits at the Legers Museum in Delft, the Netherlands from 2008 to 2009. During a ceremony held at Armistice Day in 2006, a brick was placed in the Walk of Honor at the Liberty Memorial in Kansas City to commemorate Sergeant Stubby. Stubby was the subject of at least 4 books. In 2014, BBC Schools World War I series used Stubby as a famous figure to help teach children about the war, along with creating an animated comic strip to illustrate his life. Stubby has his portrait on display at the West Haven Military Museum in Connecticut. The descendants of Robert Conroy dedicated a life-size bronze statue of Stubby named Stubby Salutes by Susan Bahari in the Connecticut Trees of Honor Memorial at Veterans Memorial Park in Middletown, Connecticut in May 2018. The statue pays tribute to fallen Connecticut veterans where both Stubby and Robert Conroy are from. Leave a white heart in the comments in remembrance of them. And as always, be loving and caring, my good beans.